Welcome to the Smart Business Revolution.
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 You want a revolution?
You say you want a revolution?
Revolution. The revolution.
It's going on right now.
Welcome to The Revolution, the Smart Business Revolution podcast, where we ask today's most successful entrepreneurs to share the tools and strategies they use to build relationships and connections to grow their revenue. Now, your host for The Revolution, John Corcoran.
All right, welcome everyone. John Corcoran here. I'm the host of this show. You know my story. I'm a recovering political hack and a recovering lawyer. I spent many years working in politics, including as a speechwriter with stints in the Clinton White House and for a California governor. Also practiced law for many years. And 10 years ago, I discovered this medium, what we're doing a live version of right now, which is podcasting and content marketing. And I've been doing it ever since. It's one of the best things I've ever done. It's introduced me to amazing people. I've connected with so many great top CEOs, founders, and entrepreneurs of all kinds of different companies, including my business partner, who I'll be talking with here in a moment. And I also co-founded Rise25 with him, where we help B2B businesses with the strategy and production they need to create a podcast that produces tremendous ROI and connects them with their ideal prospects and referral partners. And first, before I introduce our guest, I want to give a quick shout out to two people. First, Will Scott of culturezars.com. He's also the author of The Culture Fix, good friend of Rise25. And he is someone who talks a lot about what we're going to be talking about here today, which is core values and whether core values even matter. And it's a bit of a trick question because we do believe they matter. And we're going to talk about why they do and give you a couple examples of the ways that they matter. But go check out Will Scott because he teaches companies how to adopt them. And another great thought leader and expert and coach, Dov Pollock of Next Wave Leadership and the Next Wave Leadership podcast. Check him out as well. He mentors and coaches executive leaders, many female executive leaders in particular, and does a great job with that. And so he also came top of mind when we were thinking about some people who have core values and who we admire. But I'm excited because my guest is Dr. Jeremy Weisz. He's been doing his podcast, Inspired Insider, for over 10 years, been advising and helping B2B businesses with creating podcasts for over 10 years. And has been my business partner since 2015. And we've had a great time working with so many great businesses. But first, before we launch into this, of course, episode is brought to you by Rise25, through which we help B2B businesses to get clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships, and some of the best relationships and friendships you'll ever build through a podcast and through content marketing. To learn more, go to rise25media.com, or you can email us at support@rise25media.com. But first, before we get into the interview, everyone's favorite feature on this show that we cover every single week, and that is, what is Jeremy's favorite quote from an early 90s movie of the day, because it changes by the day. And for those of you who don't know my business partner, Jeremy, he is the world's most amazing,
strangest person, movie
expert, as long as those movies came out between the years 1991 and 1995 and starred David Spade. As long as it falls into that narrow category, he has a encyclopedic knowledge of every different kind of movie. So, Jeremy,
I have my answer. So I just want to preface it with, if someone the first person to email me what movies this is from, we're going to give a free copy of our course, Predictable Profits Podcast course, which is $600 on our site, Rise25. So you're saying there's a chance?
You're saying there's a chance.
So do you know what movie that's from?
I'm going to guess Tommy Boy.
Oh, no, it's not. I don't even know if you should say. If you email me the answer to that, or the first person to email me the answer to that, even though I don't know. Do you want me to give the answer to it? But it's like, yeah.
If you do, then they can just listen to the recording and they can win it that way. So no, I don't think we should. I think we should leave it dangling, leave it hanging. Actually, why don't you give it away at the end of this interview?
So you're saying there's a chance. It's one of my. I love that quote, and it's from a comedy, and I'll just leave it at that. And
we have an answer. Eric Glazer says Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Eric.
Amen. Glazer. Eric's my kind of people.
Was that the correct answer?
That is the correct answer. I can't
cool.
believe you didn't know that. You kicked off the show.
Well, I was thinking a Chris Farley movie, and so that threw me off.
Yeah.
I don't think Spade was in that one either.
If you know that scene, it's just someone giving Jim Carrey rejection after rejection after rejection and after rejection after rejection, and then after all that, he's like, "So you're saying there's a chance?"
And it's an important lesson in business, right?
Totally.
Oftentimes you take rejection after rejection, and you just got to keep on going.
You got to let it roll off you. So I think of that scene and that quote all the time.
So let's roll that into our discussion today, which is
how do we incorporate Dumb and Dumber into our discussion about core values?
Exactly. Well, one of our core values that we're going to talk about as an example, we have about 8 to 10 or so. And by the way, some people say that's way too many. Some people say that you should only have 3 or 4. I know there are companies like Amazon, I think, has 14. I had an interesting experience once at a conference where I met someone from Amazon who was telling me about how Amazon has 14 core values. And he said, any person who works for Amazon can recite them. And I said, prove it to me. And he sat down, I gave him a blank piece of paper, and it took him a couple minutes, but he wrote out all 14, remembered all 14, which I thought was really
What was one of them? Do you remember any of them?
Well, I mean, one of the famous ones is that, customer first, right? They're famous for having any meeting that Jeff Bezos attends, there's an empty room. There's an empty seat at the table, which represents the customer who's not at the table, but they will always want to be thinking about the customer. So that's one of them. But let's talk about core values, whether they matter at all, because you and I have gone through and we've created core values for our company. And there are 2 in particular that we want to talk about as an example and kind of how we've made them real for us. And the first one,
have fun. Let's talk about that one. Have fun, enthusiasm, and humor. Let's talk about that one.
And I think we might have demonstrated already by the fact that we wasted everyone's time.
We are all now dumber for hearing that. That's the second quote.
Is that Dumb and Dumber as well?
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Also released between 1991 and 1995, an Adam Sandler movie instead. So you can see
we should do a book on just principles of business learned from Tommy Boy, Billy Madison, and Dumb and Dumber. That's
yes. And you can see how Jeremy's encyclopedic knowledge of all things cinema really
all things
horizons.
Your dad would be proud of being a movie critic.
David Spade to Adam Sandler between 91 and 95 or so. So, but I think this kind of does demonstrate the way that we live our values, because no doubt there's going to be some people watching this thinking, what are these guys wasting my time with talking about early 90s movies? Clearly, late 90s were the best movies of all time. Early 90s suck. So, that's fine. Those people are not for us. But, I think it also demonstrates that we like to have fun. We want people to be drawn to us who have a sense of humor, who are not going to be turned off by having a sense of humor, and that are going to want to have fun in business as well.
There's one thing that we did. I don't know if you probably don't want to talk about it.
I'll let you give this example.
No, I mean, it goes into marketing campaigns that we do and how we infuse the fun and humor into them. And some people would not think they're fun or humorous at all and be offended by them. But we were going to send a direct mail piece, and we called it the Severed Hand Campaign. And if you want to know more about that, you could email us about it. It does not involve a real severed hand, obviously, but we did, when we went to purchase this product, it did get rejected because they were wondering, it wasn't around Halloween, so they were wondering why we were purchasing 50 plastic hands to send.
So what we ended up doing is we had a letter that we wanted to send out to a bunch of prospects, referral partners, strategic partners, clients, that sort of thing.
These are people we knew. It wasn't to a cold person, so.
That we knew. Yeah, it was not a random thing. It was people that we already had a relationship with, so they would have recognized the response label on there. But it's what's commonly called lumpy mail. So you get it in the mailbox and it's bumpy, and it's like, oh, what is this? I got to open it up. And so it had a plastic hand in there. We had a reason.
It was pretty large, actually.
But we were tongue in cheek in the letter that accompanied it. Still, having said that, there were some people that were turned off by that, and we were prepared for that going into it. We were prepared for the fact that, okay, this isn't going to resonate with everyone. There are going to be some people who are going to say, these guys are off their rocker. They are nuts. I don't like this at all.
And may be right.
Right. But I mean, going back to the core value, right? We like to have fun. We like to have a sense of humor. We like people that are going to embrace those sorts of things. We don't want stiffs, people that don't have a sense of humor. And that's just what we stand for. That's the business that we've decided to pursue. And so I think that's a good example of a way in which you can live your core values. The second one, Jeremy, the other core value that we're going to talk about is niceness and kindness. So we have another core value, which is the funny thing is Jeremy and I both come from kind of white collar professions. Jeremy is a chiropractor by training, and I'm a lawyer by training. And I had many years of very working with litigious individuals and combative opposing counsel. And so I've made a very deliberate decision in the business that we run now that I want to be with people that are fun and nice, and I don't want acrimony and bitterness. Not to mean that everything's all happy roses and Care Bears at all times. But we definitely want to surround ourselves with people who are nice, and that it extends to our team, everyone who we hire. It extends to the clients that we work with, and that is a non-negotiable. So when it comes to everything, if we have a client who is a jerk to our team, that's not going to fly with us, and because that is a core value of ours. So Jeremy, your thoughts?
I think it relates to overall why we love podcasting also, because it allows us to give to and think about other people and profile them. And, we like to, we try and be nice ourselves. Right. And that's also why we love the podcast or the medium of podcasting, because it's a way you can give to your relationships.
Absolutely right. In many ways, by featuring them, by giving them shout outs, by doing panel presentations where you interview a number of them, by after the interview's over, introducing them to other people within your network or other past guests who you think that they should connect with. There's really a lot of different ways to do it. So what are your thoughts? I'd love to know for all of you. We'll wrap things up.
Yeah, I'd love for people to email us or comment on their company's most important one or two core values. I'd love to hear what yours are, because we're always learning on what other companies are doing. So you could put them in the comments. You could email us at support@rise25media.com, and we'd love to hear it.
That's right. I would love to hear it as well. So Jeremy, just to wrap things up, where can people go to connect with you or connect with us or learn more about what we do?
Yeah, rise25.com, and there's a contact page there as well. And there is a video on the homepage, which I tell people we banter like an old married couple. And if you watch that video, you will definitely see the sense of humor come out, I think, in that video as well. So
that's right. And that's right front and center. That's demonstrating our core values yet again, front and center on our website, demonstrating that we're not going to take ourselves too seriously. And hopefully we will attract others who want to do good work, but also have fun at the same time. So thanks you all for being here, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Smart Business Revolution podcast with John Corcoran. Find out more at smartbusinessrevolution.com. And while you're there, sign up for our email list and join the revolution.
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 And be listening for the next episode of the Smart Business Revolution podcast.